NTE versus Ananta. There's been a bit of beef between these two upcoming game communities, but before diving into the drama, let me share my own view on both games. It's no secret these two look similar on the surface, and honestly, if I knew nothing about them, I would think the same. I've even seen people comment things like, wait, these two are different games? But the truth is, they're a lot more different than they appear. Let's start with the similarities. They are both open-world anime games set in modern cities, with cars, exploration, and urban gameplay elements. And that's about it. Everything else completely different. I mean, unless you want to count things like they both use WASD to move, which would just make you sound dumb. Let's talk visuals. Both games look great. I personally think NT looks better right now, but I've seen plenty of people argue that Ananta takes the win. Here's the thing, they aim for different aesthetics. NTE goes for a stylized anime look with crisp details with a lot of popping colors. Ananta goes for a semi-realistic anime hybrid with more grounded lighting. Both look impressive in their own way, it just depends on your taste. Some people notice small things NTE does better, others care about details Ananta nails. At the end of the day, it's a bit subjective. And yes, NTE is built in Unreal Engine 5, Ananta is in Unity. Both engines are totally capable of delivering high-end visuals. At this point, we're arguing over details no one will notice while actually playing. Now for the first big difference, and probably the most important one. NTE is a gacha game, Ananta is not. So honestly, they shouldn't even be in the same tier lists. They target completely different audiences. NTE will have all your typical gacha elements, character pools, builds, upgrades, endgame loops, and Ananta, on the other hand, likely won't have any of that because it just doesn't make sense for a non-gacha game with a smaller cast and its unique combat direction. Speaking of combat, this is probably the biggest factor in why someone will pick one over the other. I personally love fast-paced hack and slash dodge heavy gameplay with flashing combos and big numbers. But maybe you prefer the more grounded style, tactical combat, perfect blocks, firearms and environmental interaction. That's more of Ananta's lane. Neither is better, they're just fundamentally different experiences. Next up, the story. From what I've seen, NTE plays out like an anime series. Think Jujutsu Kaisen meets Scooby-Doo. You take on contracts, investigate anomalies, meet recurring characters, a mix of mystery and urban adventure. It's likely to have a permanent main cast too, but we'll know for sure at launch. Ananta's story seems more cinematic and segmented, kind of like GTA 5. Each character has their own path and occasionally crosses with others. That's a bit of a speculation based on trailers and dev comments, but either way, it's clearly a different narrative structure from NTE's. This difference alone could make players gravitate towards one or the other. Then there's multiplayer. Ananta seems to lean towards roleplay and co-op missions. Dev said they are considering a multiplayer mode where you can take on missions with friends in an open world. So expect something closer to GTA Online. NTE meanwhile will likely follow the co-op formula we see in gacha games like Genshin, but with extra features. The devs mentioned that both the vehicle and housing systems will have online multiplayer modes in future versions, and related user-generated content gameplay is already being planned. So it's shaping up to be a mix of social hubs, co-op and user-generated content. Both games are offering multiplayer, just in different flavors. There are a ton of smaller details I could ramble on about when it comes to how Ananta and NTE differ, but honestly, these differences alone are enough for someone to prefer one over the other, and that's fine. So what's the point of this video? It's to call out how both fanbases keep clawing at each other's throats for no reason. Like, why? Do they think if the other game does well, theirs will suddenly die? Or do they just not want to feel like they're playing the less popular or lower quality game? Or are they just bored and looking for something to hate? I don't think like them, so I'm not 100% sure, but I do have an idea why they do this. See, these people act like the gaming pie is small, like it's some limited buffet where only one game gets to eat. They think the pool of players is tiny, maybe a few hundred at best. It's the same kind of logic flat earthers use, like, yeah bro, I can't see the curve therefore it's flat, right? Meanwhile, they are forgetting that the ball we live in is huge. The same applies here. We are part of a giant pie that you can't see the end of. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of players waiting for both of these games. So there's no reason to drag players from the other side of the fence. Chances are they already know just as much as you do about your favorite upcoming game. And if they're not into it, who cares? Who are you to tell them they are liking the wrong thing? And then we've got the whole EOS panic. The classic, this game will shut down in a year crowd. Honestly, I played that one gacha revenue site, it poisoned the well. Now everyone thinks a game has to make 50 million a month to count as successful. Spoiler alert, no it doesn't. Let's get some perspective. Minecraft, the best-selling game of all time, sold about 350 million copies. If every copy was sold at $20, that's roughly 3.6 billion over 15 years. Red Dead Redemption 2 sold 77 million copies. At $60 each, that's 4.6 billion over 7 years. Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow sold 47.5 million copies, which would be about 2.85 billion if each was $60. Now look at Genshin Impact. Revenue jumps around, sometimes 100 million a month, sometimes 25 million a month, but let's average to a conservative 35 million per month. Over 6 years that's about 2.5 billion. That puts Genshin right up there among the top 20 best-selling games ever in terms of its revenue, and it hasn't even been out as long as the others. And this is just a rough estimate on mobile revenue only. Games like Genshin, Honkai, Zenless Zone Zero and Within Waves are literally in the top 0.01% in terms of revenue. If you think a gacha needs to make 20 plus million every month just to survive, you're way off. Even if Ananta or NTE pull in just 1 to 5 million a month, that's still massive. That's more than enough to keep servers running, fund new content, and maybe buy the way a yacht or two every year. People need to stop acting like the moment a game dips in revenue, it's automatically on life support. That's not how it works. And no, the gaming industry isn't going to run out of players. People don't just play one game forever. Well, unless their first game was Genshin. Then maybe, yeah. But for everyone else, there's nothing stopping someone from playing both games. All this hate and panic between the two communities comes from fear. Fear that one game might kill the other. But that's not how it will go down. If Ananta was truly capable of making NTE hit EOS, then by that logic, Zenless should also be doomed, because NTE feels a lot closer to an open world ZZZ than it ever will to Ananta. Anyway, that's my take. Like, subscribe and tell me what you think down below. I try to read every comment. And as always, stay critical. Bye bye. Let's heal. Just in case, right? Shit. Okay. And that's done. Yep.